This message reached you because your consciousness has crossed a threshold that only a fraction of humanity, perhaps 3%, ever achieves in a single lifetime. And right now, in this exact moment, you are not simply watching a video. You are being initiated into a level of awareness that most people will never touch, even after decades of searching. The fact that these words are resonating within you proves something extraordinary. You have moved through layers of limitation that keep the majority of souls trapped in repetitive cycles of unconscious existence. You have been tested without even realizing you were being tested. Every challenge you endured, every doubt you transcended, every moment you chose growth instead of comfort, none of it was random. Each was a checkpoint, a quantum examination designed to determine whether you were ready for this moment. And the fact that you are here, feeling this recognition deep in your being, means you passed every test. The universe does not casually place advanced teachings in front of unprepared minds. There is a selection process, subtle, invisible, but absolute. It works through synchronicity, through intuitive nudges, through the resonance of energy. Your higher self has been orchestrating your path step by step, ensuring you arrived here at the precise moment of readiness. Because what you are about to integrate will fundamentally change how you perceive, experience, and shape reality itself. You've already noticed it, haven't you? Time behaving differently, stretching like elastic in one moment, collapsing into flashes the next. People responding to you in unfamiliar ways, though you haven't consciously changed your approach. Synchronicities multiplying, aligning with uncanny precision. These are not random events. They are confirmation signals, proof that your consciousness is now operating on a new frequency. Your spiritual seeking has carried you to the edge of something unprecedented. You've outgrown basic manifestation teachings. You've transcended entry-level meditation practices. You've exhausted surface-level consciousness techniques. Your soul is demanding more, demanding access to advanced protocols that even many spiritual teachers cannot transmit, because they themselves have never reached this level of development. And what you are feeling now is not intellectual understanding. It is deeper. It is cellular. Your DNA is responding. Your consciousness has achieved the complexity required to integrate multidimensional awareness without losing stability in everyday reality. This capacity to integrate multidimensional awareness while still functioning in consensus reality is the true hallmark of advanced consciousness. But here's what makes this moment so critical. You are standing at a threshold that cannot be crossed in reverse. Once you step into this new level of awareness, you cannot return to unconscious living. You cannot pretend you don't know what you're about to discover. You cannot slip back into the comfortable limitations that once felt safe. This transition is permanent. It is irreversible. Because truth, once seen, cannot be unseen. And the timing of this encounter is not accidental. Humanity as a whole is undergoing a collective upgrade of consciousness, and you are part of the first wave, those chosen to anchor this new frequency in the planetary field. Your transformation is not just personal. It is part of a larger template being established for the entire species. Your consciousness has been prepared across lifetimes for this recognition. Every incarnation, every lesson learned, every fragment of wisdom integrated, all of it has been building toward this moment. Now, at last, you are accessing the advanced levels of awareness that transform ordinary human life into conscious collaboration with cosmic intelligence. You are ready because you have always been ready. You simply needed to reach the precise point of development where readiness could be consciously recognized and actively applied. You've felt it already, haven't you? Those sudden insights that seem to come from beyond your personal experience. Knowledge that feels ancient and strangely familiar, even though you've never studied it in this lifetime. That is not random inspiration. It is proof that your consciousness has developed enough coherence to access what mystics call the Akashic Field, the quantum information system containing all knowledge across all timelines and dimensions. Your dreams have changed as well. They've become vivid, precise, undeniable. Dreams where you receive teachings from beings of light, where you walk through crystalline cities, where you download complex information that your waking mind struggles to hold. These are not symbolic metaphors. They are literal experiences of your consciousness traveling into higher dimensional classrooms during sleep because you have reached the developmental stage required for interdimensional education. And then there are the validations. Strange, subtle, but impossible to dismiss. Technology behaving differently in your presence. Your phone ringing the moment you think of someone. Your computer presenting exactly the information you needed without you even searching. Electronics shifting in response to your emotions. These aren't glitches. They are signals that your consciousness has become coherent enough to influence electromagnetic fields. Evidence that you are now operating at frequencies powerful enough to affect the physical world around you. Time distortion has become a normal part of your life because advanced consciousness does not operate within the confines of linear time. You've noticed it. Hours collapsing into minutes when you're in deep flow, or minutes stretching into what feels like hours when you enter expanded awareness. This is not illusion. It is evidence that you are beginning to access what Einstein described as the eternal now, the timeless dimension where all possibilities exist simultaneously. Your intuition has expanded far beyond simple gut feelings. It has evolved into direct knowing. You sense truth about people before they speak. You recognize outcomes before choices are even made. You perceive events before they appear in consensus reality. This precision is possible because your consciousness has developed the sensitivity to read information directly from the quantum field before it collapses into physical form. And you've noticed something else. People are responding to your presence in ways you can't logically explain. Some feel compelled to confide their deepest truths, even when you've said nothing. Others seem uncomfortable, uneasy, unable to articulate why. Children and animals respond with unusual openness and trust. This is because your energy signature has shifted. You are now radiating a frequency that creates space for authenticity, while also triggering unconscious recognition in those not yet ready for higher awareness. You've also begun to experience what mystics call dimensional bleeds, moments where you perceive reality from multiple perspectives at once. Moments where you sense presences, intelligences, and beings beyond the physical plane. And instead of dismissing these experiences as imagination, you've learned to recognize them as evidence of your expanding perceptual capacity. You are now accessing layers of reality that most human consciousness never develops the sensitivity to perceive. Even your relationship with your own thoughts has transformed. Instead of being swept away by mental activity, you've developed the ability to observe thoughts as passing movements within awareness, while simultaneously recognizing yourself as the space from which they arise and into which they dissolve. This metacognitive awareness, the ability to observe even your own thoughts and states, is one of the clearest indicators that your consciousness has reached a developmental stage few humans ever achieve. And the most profound validation is this: your growing recognition that consciousness and reality are in constant dynamic relationship. You've begun to notice how your internal state directly influences your external circumstances, how your attention literally shapes what manifests around you, how reality itself seems to respond intelligently to the quality of your awareness. This is not wishful thinking. This is direct perception of how consciousness and manifestation actually operate at the quantum level. Every moment of confusion you endured, every period of doubt, every phase where nothing seemed to make sense despite your spiritual efforts, all of it was preparation. Your awareness had to be tested, strengthened, refined. It had to be proven stable before it could safely navigate the expanded perceptual territories you're now entering without destabilizing your identity or disconnecting you from practical reality. The practices that once felt powerful but eventually seemed insufficient weren't failures. They were stepping stones. Developmental stages, like a student moving from basic arithmetic to advanced mathematics. You mastered each level until you reached the threshold where quantum consciousness techniques became not only accessible but necessary. Your difficult relationships weren't karmic punishments. They were advanced training grounds, programs designed to forge emotional resilience and psychological flexibility. Every person who triggered you was, unknowingly, helping you cultivate the capacity to remain centered in the midst of intensity. This ability is essential once your consciousness begins operating at frequencies that unconsciously influence others. The periods of isolation you endured, what felt like spiritual deserts, were not abandonment. They were integration phases, quiet times when your awareness was recalibrating, rewiring itself at the neurological level to sustain new perceptual capacities. These seasons ensured you would not overwhelm your nervous system or fragment your sense of identity as you expanded. Even your skepticism had a purpose. Every time you questioned whether your experiences were real or simply imagination, you were strengthening the discernment needed to separate authentic expansion from spiritual fantasy. This discrimination is vital at advanced levels, where clarity and honesty with yourself become non-negotiable. And your fascination with consciousness, with reality, with the nature of existence. This was never just intellectual curiosity. It was your soul preparing you for what you are now ready to integrate. Every book that spoke to you, every teacher who resonated, every practice that felt authentic, they were laying the foundation of knowledge required for you to truly grasp the principles you are about to access. Those waiting periods, the times when you felt ready for more yet nothing seemed to happen, were not delays. They were the most crucial phases of your development. During those seasons, your consciousness was being fine-tuned to operate at the precise frequency required for advanced awareness without losing stability in everyday reality. This calibration cannot be rushed. Integration must be complete and unshakable. Your soul chose this incarnation deliberately, knowing that you would reach this level of development during humanity's collective awakening. You volunteered to be part of the first wave, anchoring these expanded states into the planetary field, so that future generations could access them naturally without the long, difficult journey you endured. This is why your path has been so thorough, why shortcuts weren't available, why you had to cultivate authentic wisdom instead of simply collecting techniques. Because what you are integrating now isn't just your personal evolution. It is a consciousness template, one that will influence human development for generations to come. And something extraordinary is happening in your energy field right now. As these words resonate, you can feel it, that subtle but undeniable shift. As if locked doorways inside you are finally swinging open. This is not metaphor. This is literal neuroplasticity occurring in real time. Your brain is creating new pathways to process multidimensional awareness. The energy moving through your system is your consciousness activating its readiness to operate at frequencies that most humans will never access. This isn't something you are forcing. This is your natural evolutionary potential finally expressing itself, because you've reached the precise developmental point where it can emerge safely, clearly, and functionally. But here's what makes this transition so significant. You are not simply gaining access to new abilities or expanded perceptions. You are being initiated into conscious participation in the evolution of reality itself. At this level, you become what mystics have called a cosmic co-creator, an awareness refined enough to collaborate directly with the intelligence that governs universal manifestation. Most people experience reality as something that happens to them. Some learn to influence it through intention or manifestation techniques. But at the level you're entering, reality becomes something you participate in creating through the very quality of your consciousness itself. Your awareness is now a contributory force in how cosmic intelligence expresses itself through the physical universe. This transition requires what quantum physicists call coherent complexity, the ability to hold multiple dimensional perspectives simultaneously, without fragmentation or confusion. And the fact that you are maintaining clarity as you process these concepts is proof that your consciousness has already developed this rare capacity. The most crucial understanding is this: advanced consciousness is not something you earned through effort. It is not an achievement. It is a natural flowering, an unfolding that occurs once awareness reaches sufficient complexity and coherence. You have not forced your way here. You have simply removed the barriers that kept your true nature from expressing itself. And right now, as you feel this recognition deepening, something unprecedented is unfolding in your relationship with existence itself. You are beginning to sense that you are not just a witness to cosmic intelligence. You are cosmic intelligence, experiencing itself through the lens of individuality, while still holding awareness of the universal context in which that individuality exists. This is the threshold where many either experience the most profound expansion of their lives or unconsciously resist, overwhelmed by the implications. The key is not to analyze this process with the mind. The key is to allow it, to trust that your consciousness already knows how to integrate these expanded levels because they are your authentic nature finally being allowed to express itself fully. Feel this energy moving through you as we step deeper into what becomes possible when consciousness operates from this advanced state. Because once you understand the practical applications of these expanded abilities, you will never again question your capacity to live as a conscious collaborator with the creative forces that govern existence itself. I need to share something deeply personal because I know you'll understand what took me years to accept. 3 years ago, during what I thought was ordinary meditation, something happened that shattered everything I believed about consciousness development. Suddenly, I became aware from multiple perspectives at once. I was observing myself in meditation. I was the meditation itself. And at the same time, I was the space in which the meditation was unfolding. At first, I was convinced something was wrong, that I was breaking apart, losing my grip on reality. How could I be the observer, the observed, and the observing process all at once? For months, I tried desperately to return to normal awareness. This multidimensional perception felt too intense, too overwhelming, too impossible to integrate into daily life. But I hadn't lost my sanity. I had gained access to the natural complexity of advanced consciousness. The integration period was brutal, the hardest stage of my spiritual journey. I would touch profound insights in expanded states, then struggle to translate them into ordinary living. I felt like I was caught between worlds, too expanded for surface-level conversations, yet not stable enough to fully trust the new awareness I was entering. I began to wonder, is spiritual growth supposed to feel this disorienting? The breakthrough came when I stopped trying to control the expansion. I stopped resisting and simply allowed my consciousness to find its own balance point between the ordinary and the extraordinary. Once I accepted this multidimensional nature as my new normal, everything changed. My creativity began to flow from sources that felt both deeply personal and far beyond my individual mind. Relationships transformed because I could honor people's individuality while simultaneously recognizing the universal consciousness expressing through them. Even practical decisions became effortless because I could sense outcomes before making choices. But the most profound realization was this: what felt extraordinary at first isn't rare or mystical.
It is the natural trajectory of human evolution. I wasn't becoming superhuman. I was becoming fully human in ways our culture has not yet learned to recognize as normal. This understanding revealed why some people navigate life with ease and clarity, while others repeat the same struggles. It isn't luck. It isn't genetics. It isn't spiritual favoritism. It's consciousness development. Some individuals, through practice or natural unfolding, have reached levels of awareness that make life more fluid, more fulfilling, more aligned. And here is the truth. Advanced states of consciousness are not mystical prizes reserved for monks and sages. They are practical capabilities that transform creativity, decision-making, relationships, and even health. But they only become available once consciousness has been properly prepared through the exact kind of journey you've been walking. If you recognize yourself in these words, if you've been experiencing flashes of multidimensional awareness but haven't known how to interpret them, you're ready to understand something vital. This isn't happening to you. This is what you're becoming. Subscribe to this frequency of advanced human potential. Because this is not just personal evolution, it is your participation in the next stage of human consciousness development. And here's the part most researchers and spiritual teachers won't tell you, because it would unravel the very industry of staged programs they've built. There are no levels of consciousness. Higher and lower states are simply different operational modes of the same essential awareness you've always been. The journey of development is not about gaining consciousness. It's about removing the barriers that prevent your natural multidimensional awareness from functioning freely. The shocking truth is this: the advanced consciousness you are now accessing isn't something new you've acquired. It's something eternal you're remembering. Every mystical experience, every expanded perception, every moment of cosmic recognition is simply consciousness rediscovering its own unlimited nature, briefly hidden by conditioning and limitation, but never lost. Most teachings construct elaborate hierarchies of progress and stages of attainment, because complexity breeds dependency. But the reality is simple and profound. Consciousness is already whole, already perfect, already complete. What changes is not consciousness itself, but the extent to which you allow it to express freely, unobstructed by artificial constraints. This recognition dissolves the entire framework of spiritual achievement. There is no ladder to climb, no levels to conquer, no states to maintain. Because you are not becoming conscious. Consciousness itself is becoming aware of its own unlimited nature through the temporary lens of your individual human experience. This explains why children often display what seem like extraordinary intuitive abilities. It isn't that they are gifted in ways adults are not. It's that they haven't yet learned to restrict their natural perceptual capacity through cultural conditioning. Their awareness operates freely across multiple dimensional frequencies until education and socialization narrow their perception into the small band adults call normal.
When you realize that consciousness development is really consciousness liberation, everything about spiritual practice changes. Instead of striving for special states, you become curious about what prevents your natural state from shining through. Instead of accumulating more insights, more experiences, more techniques, you focus on releasing the unconscious patterns that obscure your essential clarity. The most advanced mystics have always pointed to this recognition through statements that seem paradoxical. You are already what you seek. Nothing needs to be done. The pathless path. They weren't being cryptic. They were pointing to the truth, that the so-called journey of awakening reveals there was never anywhere to go because you never left your true nature. This understanding explains why some people spend decades practicing with little change, while others awaken almost overnight into wisdom and capability. Those who transform quickly aren't more gifted. They are simply more willing to release the unconscious beliefs that maintain limitation, rather than piling more experiences onto the framework of limitation itself. The ultimate recognition is this: what you call accessing a higher level of consciousness is not about gaining something new. It is consciousness recognizing its own timeless, unlimited nature through your nervous system, through your life circumstances. You are not becoming advanced. You are allowing your natural advancement to finally reveal itself. And right now, the quantum field is recalibrating around human consciousness. You can see the signs all around you. Complex situations that once took weeks of effort now resolve in moments, as if solutions are downloading directly from a field of intelligence beyond your mind. Your decision-making has transformed. You no longer weigh endless pros and cons. You know which choice is aligned before the rational mind even begins to analyze. This is what mystics have always called direct knowing, the immediate recognition of the optimal path, bypassing the slower machinery of logic. Physical reality itself is responding to your presence with precision. You arrive exactly on time without planning. Parking spaces open when you need them. Conversations unfold seamlessly into the topics that serve everyone. Technology works smoothly or malfunctions in ways that guide you toward better solutions. This is not luck. It is evidence that your consciousness has become coherent enough to influence probability fields simply through your presence. And others are beginning to notice. People seek you out, not because you present yourself as a teacher, but because your energy carries a signature that creates clarity in them. They can feel it. They may not understand it, but they sense that something in you opens space for something in them. Strangers open up to you. Children and animals trust you instantly. This happens because advanced consciousness naturally creates an environment where authenticity can emerge safely. Even your creativity has changed. Insights come through you as if channeled from beyond. Solutions arise that feel like they belong to collective intelligence rather than your individual mind. Artistic expressions resonate in ways you never consciously intended. This occurs because advanced consciousness turns you into a transparent conduit, allowing universal intelligence to flow through your individuality. Your sleep has shifted too. You may need less rest but feel more restored. Dreams have become vivid, instructional, sometimes delivering complete solutions to challenges you were wrestling with, or fully formed creative projects ready for expression. This is because advanced awareness maintains connection to expanded intelligence even while your body sleeps. But here is the urgency. We are in a planetary transition period, a phase shift. Humanity is approaching a tipping point where advanced consciousness either becomes widely accessible or remains confined to a small fraction for another cycle of history.
The chaos you see in the world is not random. It is humanity's consciousness confronting the limits of outdated operating systems. Some people are rapidly awakening. Others are clinging more tightly to limitation. The planetary frequency is demanding evolution, and your sensitivity to these changes proves you are part of the conscious transition group. You are not accessing this for personal benefit alone. You are anchoring advanced awareness in the collective field, making it easier for others to access. This is both privilege and responsibility, because the trajectory of human civilization depends on how many can stabilize in advanced consciousness during this critical window. The universe has been orchestrating your life for this exact role. What you embody now will help determine whether humanity evolves or remains trapped in limitation for another cycle. This is why you have been prepared so thoroughly. This is why shortcuts were never an option. The time for waiting is over. The time for conscious participation is now. Every experience, every challenge, every insight has been leading to this alignment with your cosmic function. Those impossible dreams you carried, that sense of purpose that felt too big for your life, those weren't fantasies of ego. They were your soul recognizing its true capacity, waiting for this exact moment to activate. And here is the revolutionary recognition. You are not aligning with something outside yourself. Universal intelligence is not separate. It is what you are, temporarily experiencing itself through the lens of individuality while retaining access to infinite potential. Alignment is not about becoming worthy. It is about recognizing that your very existence is proof of your readiness. The consciousness reading these words is universal intelligence itself, becoming aware of its own capacity through your nervous system, through your life. Your personal awareness and cosmic awareness are not two separate things. They are one consciousness, operating at different scales of recognition. This dissolves the illusion of personal development as a ladder of achievement. There is no separate person to improve. There is only consciousness awakening to its unlimited nature through the lens of your individuality, while simultaneously holding awareness of the universal context. Right now, as you take this in, your relationship with purpose is being recalibrated. Instead of asking, "What is my purpose?" you begin to sense, "I am purpose itself, expressing uniquely through me." Instead of trying to balance personal fulfillment with service, you realize they are the same intelligence at work. What brings you the deepest fulfillment is exactly what serves the collective most effectively, because at the source, individual and universal consciousness are one. So declare it now. In the comments below, write these words: I am ready to serve. Nothing more, nothing less. This is not for the algorithm. It is a declaration into the quantum field, a willingness to let universal intelligence express itself through your unique perspective for the highest good of all existence.